welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a profile for my Samurott deck. You guys have already seen this in the past, however I have made some changes to it, so hopefully this is something that is to your liking. But of course, if you guys enjoyed this kind of video, definitely consider dropping a like, share, comment and also subscribe. It really means a lot. However, with that being said, let's begin. So starting off, it should come to no surprise, this is our particular engine. I have seen some builds that actually play only 3 copies of Samurott and 3 copies of Oshawott. However, I don't believe that to be a nice particular ratio here. Samurott is my main attacker, so because of that, I'll be relying on 4 copies of it. You want to see it in your hand, you want to draw into it, you want to set up multiple copies on the board just in case one gets knocked out. However, with that being said, it's the ability Shell Armor that makes it so amazing. By decreasing attacks by 30, you're essentially getting a 190 HP Pokemon, but at the same time, since this is done for every single turn of attack, the longer it stays on board, the higher its representing HP will technically be. So for example, if it could survive 2 attacks from your opponents, then instead of 160 HP, it's technically a Pokemon that has 220 HP because you would have decreased 60 amounts of damage. But with that being said, it's also just really easy to attach energy to this. What I love about the attack here is that it only requires 1 water and then 2 colorless, which means we can play the twin energies in this particular deck. By the way, I do apologize for the rain in the background, however this is a water deck so it's honestly quite appropriate. Next up, we're playing here 1 Suicune. This might be a bit of a surprise to you, it's the new addition to the deck. I didn't play in the previous build, that's for sure, but I thought it would actually work out in this particular build here. Firstly, it is a basic Pokemon, it's also a single prizer, meaning there's no risk to actually it being knocked out. You don't have to worry about a V or V max, and even if it gets knocked out, yeah, it's not a big deal anyway. This here has a decent attack. Aurora Loop is basically a 130 damage attack, but although it seems almost ridiculous, it's the card we're going to be talking about after this one that makes the Suicune so good as a somewhat pseudo secondary attacker. Even though we don't really need the secondary attacker because we have plenty of Samurotts, to have Suicune out is just really nice because at least you have to skip all the evolutions that actually are required for the Samurotts. Of course, it's no surprise to you guys, we are playing here 2 copies of the Frostmoth. Both of these are just really amazing, of course. Even Snom has a really decent attack if you actually need it as well. But Frostmoth just reattaches energy. So even though Suicune actually bounces back its own energy to your hand, you can just spam it on with the Frostmoth alone, making it a really suitable card to actually play in the deck. Finally, we're going to be playing here the 1 Crobat. We just want to speed things up at times, and to be honest, with the 180 HP, making it technically the strongest Pokemon out there, it could also just take a few hits for you, and even then you're willing to sacrifice it so that you'll eventually clear up the board for your Samurotts. Alright, so let's go for something a bit crazy here. We're going to be playing 4 copies of Quick Ball. We have plenty of Pokemon to search out. We're playing 4 copies of Level Ball. We have plenty of Pokemon below 90 HP. And we're also going to be playing 4 copies of Evolution Incense with Frostmoth and with the actual Samurotts and Dewatts. You have plenty of targets, so overall they make for great searches. We're also playing a whopping amount of 8 energies, so because of that, 2 copies of Capacious Bucket doesn't seem like it's a bad option. Of course, it should be no surprise to you guys that we're playing 4 copies of Rare Candy. We are playing obviously the Samurotts at 4 copies, so why not max out the Rare Candies as well. For a bit of shenanigans, we're going to be playing here the 2 Air Balloons, just in case we need to swap out whenever we need to, and we're also playing here Training Court, at least just 1 copy. It allows us to at least recycle our energy, so there's no harm. As for supporters, we're going to be playing here 2 copies of Nessa. Nessa is obviously crucial, this is a water deck after all, so there's no doubt that we're definitely going to be needing her. And of course, we're playing 2 bosses orders just to get out whatever Pokemon we need to knock out with our Samurott. Remember, Samurott only deals 120 damage, meaning it could potentially take up to 3 hits to knock out certain Pokemon out there, particularly VMAXs, though I don't see them being the most prevalent thing out there. But with that being said, you also have to keep in mind Samurott can take many hits before that, and of course you're delaying the opponent quite a bit as well. But it makes Nessa also a fantastic option alongside it, though only 2 copies. I thought about playing more copies of it, but honestly, with what you're already gaining out of your deck, there was no need to recycle it to that degree. And finally, we're playing here 3 copies of Marnie and 4 copies of Research. The Research is already self-explanatory, however for Marnie, I wanted to bounce back the energy with the Samurotts, and once you actually bounce back their energy, you simply just shuffle it back into their deck again, making it really hard for them to get what they actually need to. It's a pretty nifty strategy that you could actually employ, though we'll just see how effective that becomes once you guys tell me how it goes in the comments. Next up, of course, we're playing 4 copies of our Twin Energy. This is definitely very crucial for our Samurotts. We don't have to waste all of our basic water energy attaching it to every single Samurott, because as long as we have Twin Energy available, it will get the job done. And of course, we are also still playing the Suicune, which will also attach a few of the water energy you need to. At long last, we're playing here our 8 copies of the basic water energy. Honestly, water decks have become such a strong energy type deck, so with that being said, every time I get the opportunity to play a water deck, I get to really just go beyond the potential out there, which is definitely fantastic of course. Frostmoth just makes so many water decks out there much more viable than a lot of different energy types. I'm particularly looking at fire being in the most disadvantaged state. Meanwhile, water is probably up there alongside metal. So that was it for this deck profile. I hope you guys actually have fun playing with this deck. But this deck also definitely has quite a place out there in a more competitive realm as well. It definitely is something that players will find to be quite annoying, given that it has the ability to actually bounce back your opponent's energy to their hand, and of course the way it actually operates as well. However, different people have different communities to actually face, meaning different decks that they'll potentially go up against. So while it might work for me, who knows how it works for you. But with that being said, thanks for joining me today. I hope you all have a sensational day. I'll see you all next time.